Well, good evening, everyone. You know, tonight we are here to really recognize and award excellence in innovation. Innovation that really serves to improve the human condition, and innovation that's truly driven by individuals that believe that the word impossible is not a fact, but rather an opinion. You know, I used to say to my father, he's also a physician, he's now in his mid to late 80s, and somewhat jokingly I would say to him, you know, Dad, when you were in medical school, and particularly in pharmacology class, what exactly did you talk about? I mean, in those days, for example, there was perhaps one antibiotic, and that was penicillin. So I said, Dad, you know, when you're on rounds, I guess you always know what to prescribe. It's going to be penicillin. And it really is remarkable to think that in such a short period of time, with discovery and drug innovation, that today there are more than 100, for lack of a better phrase, antibiotics that we have to treat our patients. And with that as a background, it really is remarkable to think about where we are today with respect to our contemporary, both treatment and prevention pharmacotherapy armamentarium. I think we've all been witness to the benefits mankind receives from the latest innovations in drug therapy. And with that, it is my absolute honor and distinct privilege to both represent the Galien Foundation and on behalf of my colleagues on the Prix Galien USA Awards Committee, to say how excited and inspired we were to see the breadth, depth, and scope of excellence within the nominees in this category. And to tell you that it was incredibly difficult to try to pick out one from a portfolio such as this. And with that, and no further ado, I'd like to share with you the nominees for the Best Pharmaceutical Product category.
Best Pharmaceutical Product. AbbVie Incorporated, Rinvoq, JAK Janus kinase inhibitor that blocks inflammation of moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis, RA, in patients who don't benefit from existing treatments. Adlon Therapeutics, a subsidiary of Purdue Pharma LP. Adhancia XR, central nervous system stimulant to treat attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, in people age 6 and older. Advanced Accelerator Applications, USA. Lutathera, radioactive isotope treatment for cancerous neuroendocrine tumors affecting the pancreas or gastrointestinal tract. Astellas Pharmaceuticals, Zospata, tyrosine kinase inhibitor for adults with relapsed or refractory acute myeloid leukemia, AML, with the tyrosine kinase 3 gene mutation. Bayer Pharmaceuticals, Nubeqa, for patients with non-metastatic castration-resistant prostate cancer. Bayer Pharmaceuticals, Vitrakvi, tumor-agnostic treatment based on a common biomarker across different types of cancers and indicated for patients with solid tumors characterized by a neurotrophic receptor kinase, NTRK gene fusion mutation, and whose cancer has metastasized. Biohaven Pharmaceuticals, Nurtec ODT, acute treatment of migraine. Blueprint Medicines, Avakit, treatment of gastrointestinal stromal tumor. Blueprint Medicines, Gavreto, treatment of lung cancer. Deciphera Pharmaceuticals, Kinlock, treatment of gastrointestinal stromal tumor. Eiger Biopharmaceuticals Incorporated, Zokinvy, treatment of genetic diseases of premature aging in children and young adults. Eli Lilly and Company, Olumiant, JAK inhibitor for treatment of rheumatoid arthritis in patients who fail to benefit from existing TNF-alpha inhibitor therapies. Eli Lilly and Company, Rayvow, non-preventive serotonin 5-HT receptor agonist class treatment for migraine with or without aura visual symptoms that can lead to stroke. Epizyme Incorporated, Tazverik, treatment of sarcoma or refractory follicular lymphoma. Esperion Therapeutics Incorporated, Nexlizet, treatment of hypercholesterolemia. Esperion Therapeutics Incorporated. Nexletol, treatment of hypercholesterolemia. Roche Genentech, Rozlytrek, first tumor-agnostic treatment with biomarkers to specifically target ROS1 positive metastatic non-small cell lung cancer, NSCLC, as well as other NTRK gene fusion positive solid tumors. Gilead Sciences Incorporated, Veklury, for the treatment of coronavirus disease 2019, COVID-19. Incyte, Pemazir, treatment of cholangiocarcinoma. Karyopharm Therapeutics, Expovio, treatment of relapsed refractory RR multiple myeloma and RR diffuse large B-cell lymphoma. Medicines Development for Global Health and the World Health Organization, WHO. Moxidectin, new treatment for onchocerciasis, river blindness, demonstrating superiority over ivermectin, the current standard of care against this major neglected infectious disease prevalent in developing countries. Merck & Company, Ricarbrio, combination antibacterial for adults with complicated urinary tract infections and complicated intra-abdominal infections. Myovant Sciences Incorporated, Orgovix, treatment of advanced prostate cancer. Novartis AG, Piqray, treatment of advanced or metastatic breast cancer with PIK3CA gene mutation. Novartis AG, Adakveo, treatment to lower frequency of recurrent vaso-occlusive crises associated with severe vascular system pain for conditions like sickle cell anemia. Novartis AG, Entresto, reduces hospitalizations and deaths in adults with chronic heart failure through improvement in the heart's ability to pump blood to the body. Pfizer Incorporated, Braftovi, Mektovi, treatment of metastatic melanoma. Pfizer Incorporated, Lorbrena, for patients with anaplastic lymphoma kinase, ALK-positive metastatic non-small cell lung cancer, NSCLC, in cases where previous ALK inhibitors have failed. Population Council Incorporated, Anovera, novel hormonal contraceptive vaginal ring that prevents ovulation and pregnancy over a full-year cycle of use. Dr. Reddy's Laboratories Incorporated, Elixib, treatment of migraine. Seagen, Takaiza, treatment of breast cancer. Servier Pharmaceuticals, Asparlis, component therapy of a multi-agent chemotherapy regimen for treatment of acute lymphoblastic leukemia, ALL, in patients 21 years of age or younger. SIGA Technologies Incorporated, TPOXX, first drug with an indication for treatment of smallpox in humans in the event of its use as a bioweapon and public health emergency. Sobi Incorporated, Gamifant, treatment of adult and pediatric patients with primary hemophagocytic lymphohistiocytosis, HLH, with refractory, recurrent, or progressive disease or intolerance with conventional LH therapy.
Well, the winner of the 2021 Best Pharmaceutical Product category is Novartis for Entresto.
Accepting the award on behalf of Novartis, David Platt, MD, VP and Medical Unit Head, Cardiovascular, Renal and Metabolism, U.S. Clinical Development and Medical Affairs, Novartis Pharmaceuticals.
So, On behalf of Novartis, I'd like to thank the Galien Foundation for this prestigious recognition. You know, heart failure is a condition that affects 6 million Americans. It's the leading cause of hospitalization in this country for people who are 65 and older. And its prevalence is actually increasing. So by 2030, 1 in 33 people in this country will have heart failure, with a 5-year mortality rate of 50%. Entresto was developed with the goal of improving these patients' lives by reducing their risk of heart failure, hospitalization, and death. In 2006, researchers at Novartis set out to reimagine medicine by combining a novel neprilysin inhibitor, sacubitril, with an angiotensin receptor blocker, valsartan. And following a very unique development program, Entresto was approved in 2015 as the first-in-class angiotensin receptor neprilysin inhibitor. And at that time, it was the first new treatment for heart failure in over a decade. Entresto is also, thank you. Entresto is also a very important part of Novartis' mission to lead a generational decline in cardiovascular death in the US. And we have invested in comprehensive research to improve patient outcomes across multiple areas of unmet need in heart failure, including heart failure with reduced ejection fraction, heart failure with preserved ejection fraction, and pediatric heart failure. And with over 40 studies, the Entresto Fortify program, which was the largest clinical program in heart failure to date, continues to generate data on symptomatic improvement, quality of life benefits, and real-world evidence. So Novartis is very proud to dedicate this award to the patients, their caregivers, their families, their clinicians who've made this journey possible. And the impact that we've been able to have on their lives is what drives us to keep working every day to bring new life-saving treatment innovations to patients who are in desperate need of them. Thank you very much.